What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Knicks Latest, your go-to YouTube channel for everything New York Knicks basketball. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you drop a comment. Make sure you like a video. I'll be doing something tomorrow, taking your comments, your opinions, and commenting on them. So make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get a fan base, New York Knicks fans, objective, passionate Knicks fans who are rooting for the team, not here to trash the team, but rooting for the team to give their opinion so that we can enjoy the most anticipated New York Knicks season since the Ewing era, a season in which the Knicks are finally expected to go to the NBA Finals by their fans. A year in which I think, and many Knicks fans think, that they can win the NBA championship. It is going to be an exciting year. We are in the middle of a new golden age of New York Knicks basketball. We want to get as many Knicks fans as possible. Subscribe to the channel. So make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you drop a comment because I will be using your comments for content and all that good stuff throughout the whole season. All right, now let's get into it. The Knicks lose to the Washington Wizards 120-103 yesterday in an ugly game. Oh my goodness, it was an ugly game at the Garden. So much so that I don't even know where to begin or how to even talk about it. I mean, you have Brunson, Anthony Towns, OG, Mikal, Hukporti, Hart. I'm sure I'm missing other people who were out. Just the team didn't play, if we're just being honest with you. There were some bench players who did get to start, obviously, because you had to. So Brogdon, Deuce, Clarkson, Yabusele, they had to start. They had to step in and start. Mitch was out. Was kind of hoping that we can see Mitch with, this type of unit, but he was out. So there's really not much to take here. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, they didn't play defense. They were awful on defense. They didn't bring any intensity. Mike Brown alluded to that in his post-game presser, saying how he was frustrated and disappointed that the team didn't come out with intensity. And as a Knicks fan, I am too. But at the end of the day, it's like, who was actually playing that was of importance? Not that Clarkson's not important to the team, not that Yabusele is not important to the team, but this wasn't the New York Knicks team that we're going to see all season. It was just kind of like a throwout game. It was kind of like, okay, just go out there and hoop. Let's see what we can do. I'm not sure what Mike Brown was expecting to learn from this game. I guess, different lineup combinations for the bench, considering everybody was out, all the starters was out. So maybe you can see how your bench would step up in certain situations, I guess, against a Washington Wizards team that, to be honest with you, is a young team that on their best day is nowhere near the New York Knicks and how talented they are. I guess that's disappointing, but I also don't think it's that deep. This is the preseason. This is, a lot of veterans like Clarkson and Yabusele, this doesn't mean anything to them. Yabusele just came back from Europe. He just, competed for a Euro championship. Jordan Clarkson's been in the league for a long time, been on playoff teams. This doesn't really mean much to them. This isn't something where, the fourth preseason of the game of the season, you have your spot locked up. You know what your role's going to be. You're not going to be playing your hardest. You're not going to bring your intensity. So there's a lot of me that just wants to throw this away in the sense of yeah, it happened. But do we take anything from it? In my opinion, no. I'm not going to flip out about the way the Knicks played against the Washington Wizards in the fourth game of the preseason at home on a Monday night. I would have liked to see them play better, of course. And, we got that from Tyler Kolek. I mean, I guess we can say that. Tyler Kolek had 20 and 6. He looked really good. He was aggressive. He was playing at a pace that I always wanted him to play at. He was looking for his shot. There's a positive there. Dadier started the game with back-to-back threes, which is good. There were some bright spots here and there, but at the end of the day, this is something where preseason gets us excited because we get the first look at our favorite team and we get to dissect, what the offense looks like and what the defense looks like and what the potential can be. And when they play really well, you want to get excited. And when they play bad, you want to pull back and say, well, it's just preseason. But I really do believe that's a thing, right? I don't think that we should look too deep into a preseason game, especially when our starters and even our best backups weren't playing. It doesn't really make sense to get up in arms. I understand where Mike Brown's coming from as far as the intensity is concerned, as far as the effort being there. You never want to go down 30 in any basketball game, and they were down 30 plus in this game. So I get where that's coming from. But if I'm a Knicks fan, which I am, and if you are a Knicks fan, which you are, we're not ringing alarm bells here. This is not that big of a deal. It's not that deep. It is just preseason. They have one more preseason game to bounce back against the Charlotte Hornets. I'm interested to see if, it's going to be the same thing, if the starters are going to sit out, if Mitch is going to sit out, if Josh Hart's going to sit out, what that looks like. Maybe these guys get a second chance at it. Maybe they can show the intensity that Mike Brown was expecting. Who knows? I don't know anymore. But it looks like this team has had enough of preseason and is just ready to start competing and ready to get the regular season underway. That's the vibe that I got. Where it's like, okay, this is old now. We're sitting our starters. Like, none of this matters anymore. And to me, I can't blame them, right? This is a veteran team that has high expectations. The preseason means nothing. It is kind of hard to get up 4 times, 5 times for games that really don't mean much. Unless you are Tyler Kolek, who feels like he is fighting for his NBA career, why would you get up for this? Honestly, maybe a Malcolm Brogdon. Landry Shamet was also out. So it's one of those things where you kind of just toss it aside. Say, you know what? It is what it is. It's a preseason game. Doesn't count on the record. We're not going to be talking about this a week from now. It's not that big of a deal. For me, the big news, and this happened right as I was going to record, so I waited just a little bit longer. Mark Cuban going on Pablo Torre's show and talking about Jalen Brunson. And to me, this is getting really annoying. Pablo Torre asked, do you think the Knicks may have circumvented the cap, taking Jalen Brunson from your Mavs? Mark Cuban said, I don't know. There was a lot at play. And he later said, was I happy they only got dinged for a second-round pick? No, it should have been far worse. This is really annoying now. Really annoying because, if you're going to launch an accusation. Don't tiptoe around it. If you think the Knicks circumvented the cap, say you think the Knicks circumvented the cap, right? You're implying that the Knicks circumvented the cap here, but since you don't have any evidence that the Knicks circumvented the cap, you want to throw out a feeler, you want to throw out a maybe, I don't know, plausible deniability, while also making it seem like the Knicks probably circumvented the cap to get Jalen Brunson. And as a Knicks fan, I don't appreciate that. And Mark Cuban's somebody who, as a human being, he's cool, the good things about him, bad things. It's whatever. He's a public figure, but overall for the game of basketball, I think he's done really well. I think he's good for the NBA in his role as the owner of the Dallas Mavericks when he was the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. But again, if you're going to call out the New York Knicks, you might as well just call out the New York Knicks. Doing it like this to me is a coward move. You saying, I don't know if they did, but you're basically implying that the Knicks circumvented the cap to get Jalen Brunson and have no proof of it. And Pablo Torre here, he's the one who dropped the bomb on Steve Ballmer and the Los Angeles Clippers and how they paid Kawhi Leonard. He's also mentioned in the past about Jalen Brunson and maybe the Knicks doing that. He seems to have a target on the Knicks' back right now, which to me is kind of weird because I understand being an investigative journalist and maybe trying to see if something's there or not, but you have not found anything as of now, to my knowledge. So for you to continue this narrative that maybe something would be out there for the New York Knicks is kind of irresponsible of you, right? You haven't found anything. You might think it's a little suspicious because he went to New York and now he has signed an extension on a discount, whatever, but people sign different contracts for different reasons. And if you don't have proof, maybe you shouldn't be implying that Jalen Brunson signed a contract for nefarious reasons. And I feel like that's what Pablo and Mark are doing here. They think that something is shady with Jalen Brunson. They think there's something shady with the way that Jalen Brunson signed with the New York Knicks. And they have no proof of it, but they're going around talking as if, it's out there. It probably did happen, but plausible deniability. We're not going to go out there and say that it definitely happened. We're not going to make that accusation. We're just going to talk about it as if, hey, it's kind of sketchy and keep it up out there. So to me, as a Knicks fan, it's kind of frustrating because this is something that can loom over the heads of the Knicks organization, the way that the Kawhi contract has loomed over the heads of the Clippers organization. Pablo has found way more on that end with Kawhi Leonard and Steve Ballmer than he has found anything on the New York Knicks and Jalen Brunson. So for me, if he finds something, then we'll talk about it. But if you don't find anything, if there is nothing to be brought to the table, then let's stop talking about it here, right? Because now at this point, you're just being irresponsible. Now at this point, you're just throwing stuff into the media for them to latch on and maybe have their own conspiracy theories, right? Let's stop it here right now. Mark Cuban, if you think the Knicks did anything, say what you think they did. What proof do you have? What conversations did you have? Why do you think that? Pablo, if you think the Knicks did something and Jalen Brunson had some backdoor deal that's under the books, under the table, then show it. What conversations have you had? What paperwork do you have to show it? And if you don't, then say you don't. And stop speculating because nothing has been out there. Nothing has been reported yet. So that's my take on that. To me, that is more of the bigger story today than a fourth preseason game that the Knicks did not really care about. For me, the reputation of the organization, the reputation of Jalen Brunson, who is the best Knicks since Patrick Ewing, is more important to me. This is going into a season where Not saying that it's going to break up the locker room or cause drama or anything like that, but you don't want that surrounding your favorite team. You don't want that surrounding, a championship contending level team going into the season. It's really freaking annoying. So I just wanted to say that. I also wanted just to reiterate, listen, Knicks lose to the Wizards 120-103. It's not that big of a deal. Would I have liked to see them play better? Yes. Would I have liked to see Deuce play better? Yes. Same with Brogdon. We got a good Kolek game. But at the end of the day, it's the 4th preseason game. I think this Knicks organization knows what they want to do, with that final roster spot or that final two roster spots if they end up trading a young piece. I think they have an idea what they're going to do. We all know who the front men of the rotation are, right? There's no confusion as far as like the Jalen Brunsons, the Karl-Anthony Towns, the Mikal Bridges of the world, the OG Anunobys. We know who our top guys are. We're just filling in the back end of the rotation and our emergency players at this point. I'm just excited to get the season started. So, listen, if you want, drop a comment. I will be going over your comments, doing an episode tomorrow strictly with YouTube comments and going over those. So leave a question in the comment section below, but make sure you're subscribed first. We're trying to get a contingent of New York Knicks fans going into the most anticipated season in New York Knicks history. Like the video, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.